In the quiet, sun-baked town of Harmony Creek lived Miguel, a mechanic with a heart as big as the rusty wrench he always carried. His small garage, Miguel's Motors, wasn't much to look at. Paint peeled from the walls and the sign above the door creaked in the wind, but Miguel poured his heart and soul into every repair. He wasn't making much money. Harmony Creek was a town where folks held onto their cars until they were practically held together with duct tape and hope. Miguel understood. He was in the same boat. He and his wife, Sophia, struggled to make ends meet, worrying about bills and how to provide for their young daughter, Isabella. Despite his own troubles, Miguel was known for his kindness. He'd often fix cars for free for elderly neighbors or single parents who couldn't afford it. He believed in helping others even when he barely had enough for himself. His shop wasn't just a place to fix cars, it was a place where people could find a friendly face and a helping hand. Miguel always had a smile and a kind word even when things were tough. That's just the kind of man he was, a true gem in the small town of Harmony Creek. He found joy in the simple things, a perfectly tuned engine, a satisfied customer, and the laughter of his daughter. But deep down, he dreamed of a better life, one where he didn't have to worry about keeping the lights on and could provide Isabella with the opportunities she deserved. One sweltering afternoon, just as Miguel was wiping grease from his hands after fixing Mrs. Gable's ancient pickup, a sleek, black car sputtered and coughed its way to a halt right outside his garage. It was unlike anything Miguel had ever seen in Harmony Creek, long, shiny, and expensive-looking. Miguel watched, surprised, as the driver's side door opened and a man in a crisp suit stepped out. The man looked completely out of place amidst the dusty surroundings and the worn-out equipment scattered around Miguel's Motors. The car was blocking most of the road now. The car's hood was smoking slightly. Miguel cautiously approached the vehicle, wiping his hands again on his already greasy rag. "Afternoon, sir," he said, his voice friendly. "Looks like you're having some trouble." The man sighed, running a hand through his perfectly styled hair. "Trouble is an understatement. This thing decided to die on me in the middle of nowhere. And I have a very important meeting to get to." He glanced around at Miguel's garage with a look of barely concealed disdain. "Are you even capable of fixing something like this?" Miguel, despite the man's rude tone, simply nodded. "I'll take a look. Can't promise anything, but I'll do my best." He knew he might be out of his depth, but he couldn't just leave someone stranded, especially not in the scorching heat. Besides, a job was a job and he desperately needed the money. This could be a lucky break, a chance to prove himself, even to someone as seemingly important as this stranger. The man in the suit, whose name Miguel soon learned was Mr. Sterling, paced impatiently while Miguel examined the engine. Mr. Sterling was clearly a man used to getting his way. He talked on his phone, his voice sharp and commanding, canceling his meeting and rearranging his schedule with an air of importance. Miguel overheard snippets of the conversation, mentions of deals, investments, and high-powered individuals. It was clear that Mr. Sterling was someone of considerable wealth and influence, a stark contrast to the humble surroundings of Harmony Creek. Mr. Sterling tapped his expensive shoes on the cracked pavement, looking increasingly agitated. He kept glancing at his watch and muttering about wasted time and missed opportunities. Miguel, trying to ignore the pressure, focused on the engine. He carefully checked the wires, the belts, and the fluids, his brow furrowed in concentration. He may not have worked on a car like this before, but an engine was an engine and he knew his way around them. After a few minutes of tinkering, Miguel straightened up, wiping his hands on his rag again. "I think I know what the problem is," he said. "Looks like a faulty fuel pump. I might have a replacement that'll fit. It'll take me a little while to get it installed, though." Mr. Sterling raised an eyebrow. "How long is a little while? I need to be back on the road as soon as possible." The thought of being stuck in Harmony Creek any longer than necessary seemed to fill him with dread. "A couple of hours, maybe 3, Miguel replied, trying to sound confident. "I'll need to go through my stock. It's not a common part, especially for a car like yours. But I'll find something that works, I promise." Mr. Sterling sighed again, checking his watch. "Fine. But make it snappy. I'll be inside trying to get some work done." He disappeared into the small, dusty waiting room of Miguel's Motors, looking utterly miserable. Miguel set to work immediately. He rummaged through his collection of used parts, muttering to himself as he searched. He knew he could charge Mr. Sterling a premium for the emergency repair, but that wasn't his way. He believed in fair prices even if it meant less profit. After a little while, he found a fuel pump that, with a bit of ingenuity and some careful adjustments, would do the trick. Hours later, as the sun began to set, Miguel finally finished the job. The engine sputtered to life, purring smoothly. He called Mr. Sterling out to inspect his work. Mr. Sterling looked surprised that Miguel had actually managed to fix the car. After a quick test drive, he grudgingly admitted that it was running perfectly. "How much do I owe you?" Mr. Sterling asked, pulling out his wallet. Miguel hesitated for a moment, then named a price that was far less than what he could have charged, just enough to cover the cost of the part and a little bit for his time. He knew Mr. Sterling could easily afford much more, but he couldn't bring himself to overcharge someone, even someone who was clearly used to getting his way. Mr. Sterling handed Miguel the money, a thoughtful expression on his face. He looked around the small, cluttered garage, taking in the peeling paint, the outdated equipment, and the general air of struggle that permeated the place. He noticed the worn-out tools, the faded posters on the wall, and the patched-up overalls Miguel was wearing. "You know," Mr. Sterling said, his voice softer than before, "you could have charged me a lot more. I wouldn't have known the difference." Miguel shrugged. "I just believe in being honest. It's the right thing to do." Mr. Sterling nodded slowly. "I can see that. You're a good mechanic, Miguel. And an honest one. That's a rare combination these days." He paused, considering. "This place. It could use some help. You have real skill, but you're not exactly set up for success here, are you?" Miguel sighed, running a hand through his hair. "It's tough," he admitted. "I do what I can, but it's hard to compete with the bigger shops in the city. I love what I do, but sometimes I wonder if I can keep it going." Mr. Sterling studied Miguel for a moment, his eyes assessing. He saw the hard work etched on Miguel's face, the pride in his craftsmanship, and the genuine kindness in his eyes. He was impressed not only by Miguel's skill but also by his integrity. He recognized a good man struggling to make a living, and something stirred within him. He had an idea, a feeling that perhaps he could help. "Well, Miguel," Mr. Sterling said, extending his hand. "Thank you again for your help. I truly appreciate it." His handshake was firm and sincere. "I'm not sure what I would have done without you." Miguel smiled, relieved that the ordeal was over. "You're welcome, Mr. Sterling. Glad I could help." As Mr. Sterling turned to get into his car, he paused, looking back at Miguel. "I'm going to remember this, Miguel. Your skill, your honesty. It's something special. I have a feeling our paths will cross again." He gave a slight nod, a hint of a smile playing on his lips. "Take care." He slid into his car, the engine roaring to life. With a final wave, he drove off, leaving Miguel standing in the dust of Harmony Creek, wondering what Mr. Sterling had meant. He watched the sleek car disappear down the road, a symbol of a world so different from his own. Life went back to normal at Miguel's Motors. He fixed cars, helped his neighbors, and worried about making ends meet. The encounter with Mr. Sterling felt like a brief, strange dream, a momentary glimpse into a life he could only imagine. He tried not to dwell on it, focusing instead on the challenges of the present. But deep down, a tiny spark of hope had been ignited, a flicker of possibility that maybe, just maybe, things could change. The weeks that followed were tough for Miguel. Business was slow, and the bills kept piling up. He tried to stay positive, but it was hard to ignore the growing sense of despair. Sophia worked tirelessly at the local diner, but her wages were barely enough to cover groceries and the most essential expenses. They were falling behind on rent, and Miguel knew that if things didn't improve soon, he might have to close Miguel's Motors for good. He considered taking out a loan, but the interest rates were crippling, and he didn't want to burden his family with more debt. He even thought about selling some of his tools, but they were his livelihood, the instruments of his trade. Without them, he wouldn't be able to work at all. The weight of his responsibilities pressed heavily on him. He found himself working longer hours, taking on any job he could find, no matter how small or insignificant. He even started doing odd jobs around town, mowing lawns, fixing leaky faucets, just to earn a few extra dollars. One evening, after a particularly grueling day, Miguel sat on the porch of his small house, staring out at the darkening sky. Sophia came and sat beside him, placing a comforting hand on his arm. "We'll figure it out, Miguel," she said softly. "We always do." But Miguel wasn't so sure this time. He looked at his calloused hands, his tired eyes, and wondered if he had the strength to keep fighting. The dream of a better life seemed further away than ever. Closing his business would mean leaving Harmony Creek and starting again somewhere else. The thought was daunting. Just when Miguel was at his lowest point, ready to accept defeat, a familiar car pulled up outside Miguel's Motors. It was the same sleek, black car that had broken down weeks ago. Miguel's heart skipped a beat. He couldn't believe his eyes. Mr. Sterling stepped out of the car, looking just as impeccably dressed as before. He surveyed the garage, his gaze lingering on the peeling paint and the worn-out sign. A small smile played on his lips. Miguel, surprised and a little apprehensive, walked towards him. "Mr. Sterling?" What brings you back to Harmony Creek? Mr. Sterling chuckled. I told you our paths would cross again, didn't I? I'm a man of my word, Miguel. He paused, his eyes serious. I've been thinking about our encounter, about your skill, your honesty. And about this place. He gestured around the garage. I've come to make you an offer, Miguel. An offer that could change everything. Miguel stared at him, his mind racing. What could Mr. Sterling possibly want from him? He couldn't imagine what kind of offer a wealthy businessman like Mr. Sterling would make to a struggling mechanic in a small town. He braced himself, both excited and wary, wondering what the future held. This unexpected visit felt like a turning point, a chance for something new, something better. But he also knew that things that seemed too good to be true often were. What kind of offer, Mr. Sterling? Miguel asked, his voice barely a whisper. Mr. Sterling smiled. I'm planning to open a new auto repair business in the city, a state-of-the-art facility with the latest equipment. And I want you to be my partner. Miguel's jaw dropped. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. A partnership? In a new business? In the city? It was beyond anything he had ever imagined. Partner, he stammered. But, why me? You could choose anyone. Because, Mr. Sterling said, his voice firm, I need someone I can trust. Someone with your skill and your integrity. I've seen how you work, Miguel. I know you're the right person for this. He explained his vision, a repair shop built on honesty and quality where customers were treated fairly and with respect. He wanted to create a business that was different from the typical, often shady, auto repair shops. He needed someone who shared his values, someone who wouldn't cut corners or overcharge customers. I'll provide the capital, the location, the equipment, Mr. Sterling continued. You'll bring your expertise, your skills, and your reputation for honesty. We'll be partners, equal partners. What do you say, Miguel? Are you willing to take a chance? Miguel was stunned. He looked around his small garage, at the peeling paint and the outdated tools. He thought of Sophia, working hard at the diner, and Isabella dreaming of a future he wasn't sure he could provide. This was it, the opportunity he had been waiting for, the chance to finally build a better life for his family. But it was also a huge risk, a leap of faith into the unknown. Despite the incredible opportunity, Miguel felt a wave of hesitation wash over him. Leaving Harmony Creek was a daunting prospect. This small town was all he had ever known. His family, his friends, his entire life were here. He worried about uprooting Isabella, about taking her away from her school and her friends. He wondered if Sophia would be happy in the city, so different from the quiet life they had built together. The thought of leaving his familiar surroundings filled him with a sense of unease. He knew everyone in Harmony Creek, and they knew him. He was comfortable here even with the struggles. The city, on the other hand, was an unknown, a vast and intimidating place where he would be a stranger. He also worried about the business itself. What if he wasn't good enough? What if he couldn't handle the pressure of running a state-of-the-art repair shop? He had always been a small-town mechanic, fixing old cars and helping his neighbors. He wasn't sure he was ready for the big leagues. Mr. Sterling, Miguel said, his voice hesitant, I don't know what to say. It's a wonderful offer, but it's a lot to take in. I need time to think about it, to talk to my family. He looked at Mr. Sterling, his eyes filled with uncertainty. I'm not sure I'm the right person for this. Mr. Sterling nodded understandingly. Of course, Miguel. Take all the time you need. This is a big decision, and I want you to be completely sure. But I believe in you, Miguel. I know you can do this. Let me explain my vision a little more clearly, Miguel, Mr. Sterling said, leaning against his car. I've been successful in business, yes, but I've also seen a lot of dishonesty and greed. I want to create something different, something that I can be proud of. He continued, I want to build a business where people can trust us, where they know they're getting a fair price and honest service. I want to treat our employees well, create a positive work environment, and give back to the community. Mr. Sterling gestured towards Miguel's garage. You've already created that here, in your own small way. You're known for your honesty and your integrity. That's what I want to bring to the city on a larger scale. He paused, looking directly at Miguel. I could have hired any mechanic in the city, someone with more experience, more qualifications. But I didn't want just a mechanic. I wanted someone with character, someone with values. Someone like you, Miguel. This isn't just about making money, Mr. Sterling emphasized. It's about building something meaningful, something that makes a difference. It's about showing people that you can be successful without sacrificing your principles. He wanted to create a business that was a reflection of Miguel's own values, a place where honesty and integrity were the cornerstones of everything they did. This was more than just an offer of a job, it was an invitation to build a legacy. That evening, after Isabella was asleep, Miguel sat down with Sophia and shared the incredible news. He told her everything Mr. Sterling had said about the partnership, the new business, and the opportunity to build a better future. Sophia listened intently, her eyes wide with surprise and excitement. When he finished, she reached across the table and took his hand. "Miguel, this is amazing," she exclaimed. "This is the chance we've been waiting for." But as they talked more, the reality of the situation began to sink in. Leaving Harmony Creek would be difficult, especially for Isabella. They also discussed the risks involved. What if the business failed? What if they weren't happy in the city? They decided to seek advice from Miguel's closest friend, Old Man Hector, who ran the local hardware store. Hector was a wise and respected figure in the community, and Miguel valued his opinion. The next day, Miguel shared the offer with Hector over a cup of coffee at the hardware store. Hector listened carefully, stroking his beard thoughtfully. "Miguel," he said finally, "this is a big decision, one that will change your life forever. But sometimes you have to take risks to achieve your dreams." Hector reminded Miguel of his talent and his honesty, qualities that were rare and valuable. He encouraged Miguel to consider the opportunity carefully, weighing the pros and cons, and to trust his instincts. He told Miguel to follow his heart and do what he believed was best for his family. Hector said, "It sounds like Mr. Sterling is a good man." With Sophia's enthusiasm and Hector's blessing, Miguel felt a little more confident. But the decision was still his to make. After days of careful consideration and heartfelt conversations with Sophia and Hector, Miguel finally made his decision. He knew it was a risk, a leap into the unknown, but he couldn't shake the feeling that this was the right thing to do. He realized that this wasn't just about improving his own life, it was about building something bigger, something meaningful. He believed in Mr. Sterling's vision, in the idea of creating a business based on honesty and integrity. And he knew that he could bring his own values, his own skills, and his own dedication to the table. He also thought about Isabella, about the opportunities she would have in the city, the better schools, the wider range of experiences. He wanted to give her the best possible start in life, and he believed that this partnership with Mr. Sterling was the way to do it. Finally, he recognized that this was a chance to help others, to provide fair and honest service to customers who were often taken advantage of. He could create a business that was a force for good in the community, a place where people could trust him. With a newfound sense of purpose, Miguel called Mr. Sterling and told him his decision. "I'm in," he said, his voice filled with determination. "I'm ready to take a chance." Mr. Sterling was thrilled. "That's great news, Miguel. I knew you wouldn't let me down. We're going to build something amazing together." The next few months were a whirlwind of activity. Miguel and his family packed up their belongings, said goodbye to their friends and neighbors in Harmony Creek, and moved to the city. It was a difficult transition, but they were excited about the future. Miguel and Mr. Sterling worked tirelessly to build their new business, which they named Sterling and Miguel's Auto. Mr. Sterling handled the business side of things, securing a prime location, purchasing state-of-the-art equipment, and hiring a team of skilled mechanics. Miguel focused on the technical aspects, ensuring that the shop was running smoothly and that the repairs were done to the highest standards. They faced many challenges along the way. There were unexpected expenses, delays in construction, and difficulties in finding qualified employees who shared their values. Some people didn't believe in their vision, thinking that a business based on honesty couldn't be successful. But Miguel and Mr. Sterling persevered, drawing on their combined skills and their shared commitment to integrity. They treated their employees with respect, paid them fairly, and created a positive work environment. They were transparent with their customers, explaining the repairs in detail and providing accurate estimates. And they always stood behind their work, ensuring that every customer was satisfied. Slowly but surely, Sterling and Miguel's Auto began to earn a reputation for excellence and trustworthiness. Customers appreciated their honest service and their skilled workmanship. The business grew and they started to make a profit. Miguel and Mr. Sterling had proven that you could be successful without sacrificing your values. Sterling and Miguel's Auto quickly became a thriving business known throughout the city for its excellent service and fair prices. Customers flocked to the shop knowing they could trust Miguel and his team to provide honest repairs and reliable advice. The business was more than just a place to fix cars, it was a place where people felt valued and respected. Miguel's skills as a mechanic were in high demand, and he took pride in mentoring the other mechanics, teaching them not only the technical aspects of the job but also the importance of honesty and integrity. He instilled in them a sense of pride in their work and a commitment to customer satisfaction. Mr. Sterling's business acumen and Miguel's technical expertise proved to be a winning combination. They expanded the business, opening new locations and offering a wider range of services. They also became active in the community, sponsoring local sports teams and donating to charities. Sterling and Miguel's auto became a pillar of the community, a symbol of success and integrity. Miguel, the poor mechanic from Harmony Creek, had transformed his life and the lives of others, proving that anything is possible with hard work, dedication, and a good heart. His reputation for being honest spread far and wide. The business gave back to the local community, to the less fortunate. Despite his success, Miguel never forgot his humble beginnings in Harmony Creek. He remembered the struggles, the worries, and the kindness of his neighbors. He knew that he had been given a second chance, and he was determined to pay it forward. He and Mr. Sterling established a foundation to help those in need, providing scholarships for underprivileged students, donating to local food banks, and offering free car repairs to low-income families. Miguel often visited Harmony Creek, helping out at the local community center and mentoring young people who were struggling to find their way. He also made sure that Sterling and Miguel's auto continued to provide affordable and reliable service to all its customers, regardless of their income. He never forgot the importance of treating people with respect and honesty, and he instilled those values in all his employees. Miguel's story became an inspiration to many. He was a living example of how kindness and integrity could lead to success and how success could be used to make the world a better place. He proved that even a poor mechanic from a small town could achieve great things as long as he stayed true to his values and never forgot where he came from. Miguel lived a life filled with joy and purpose, knowing that he was making a difference in the lives of others, just as Mr. Sterling had made a difference in his. He was forever grateful for the opportunity he had been given, and he dedicated his life to paying it forward.